So, what are the three factors most often used by criminologists to explain changes in the nation's crime rate? Well, if we take a look at learning objective number 7, we see that levels of incarceration is one, because if an offender is behind bars, they can't commit additional crimes. And the threat of imprisonment acts as a deterrent to criminal behavior. Number 2, the size of our population. Because those under the age of 24 commit the majority of crimes in the United States, we keep an eye on our population rates and the changes of that youth population. And number 3, the economy. The health of the economy is always monitored, because when income and employment levels fall, most often that directly affects our crime rates, because people return to crime for financial gain. And our book provides this chart to see the change in violent crimes from the period over this 25-year period from 1990 to 2015. Learning objective number 8. Explain why income level appears to be more important than race or ethnicity when it comes to crime trends. Criminologists have found that the most consistent indicators of criminal behavior are circumstances such as low family earning power and the absence of a parent. In addition, failure to obtain a high school diploma appears to have a positive correlation with criminal activity, regardless of the race or the ethnicity of an individual. So, low income, absent of a parent, failure to obtain a high school diploma. Finally, there are some that believe that high arrest rates in the low-income minority neighborhoods also can be attributed to the willingness of the police to arrest residents of these communities and of our court system to convict them. So here we go into something referred to as differential access to the criminal justice system. If you live in the poverty-stricken neighborhoods, it's very likely that you could A, become the victim of a crime, or B, become a criminal yourself. Especially if you don't get your high school diploma, if you come from a broken family, and you can't afford a good attorney. We see that the court system is prone to treat you differently than people who obviously have a lot of money. What about women in crime? Well, crime is an overwhelmingly male activity. 63% of all murders involve a male victim and a male offender. Only about 9% of the national prison and jail population are female. And in 2015, only 24% of all arrests involved women. But our criminal justice system, there's been a switch, there's been a change. There's been an increase in our female presence in the criminal justice system. And there's two possible explanations that have been offered. One, that the life circumstances and behavior of women have changed dramatically over the past 40 years. And two, that the criminal justice system's attitude toward women has changed over that period of time. So what does that mean? Well, we didn't want to put women in prison because the women were really a major function within the family unit. And so the courts were very light and very easygoing on women. But that seems to have changed. If you commit the crime, you're going to do the time. And the majority of female arrestees are involved in drug and alcohol related offenses. And so when we went through this period of time of say no to drugs and hard sentencing against drug-related offenders, we saw an increase in our female population. The role of women in our society has also changed. What used to be considered the woman was the head of the household, now we find women in the workplace, and so the courts have really viewed it a little bit differently. And so there has been an increase in the number of females incarcerated over the past 40 years. And that wraps up our learning objective 9, to discuss the prevailing explanation for the rising number of women incarcerated in the United States, and also wraps up the learning objectives for chapter 3.